So you probably clicked on this video expecting, anticipating that I will now proceed to say bad things about Ironheart. But you made a mistake. You made the most simple mistake out there. You did not account for the very obvious fact that I am a black trans woman. And this show was literally made for me and the rest of the black community. Black power and stuff. That's right. So this show is amazing. It is a blue villain origin story with senseless violence, stealing when there's no need to stealing, and murdering when there's no need to murdering and calling it a good thing. And it's probably going to lead to becoming an Avenger because obviously, Ironheart is a masterpiece. And the fact that you don't think like that just means you're not black enough, boy. Take it from a black woman, Dad. But always right at the end of the day, you know. Smacks lips. Anyway, let's see what's happening.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rip here. So the moment you've all been waiting for is finally here. Marvel's Ironheart has released its first 3 episodes of the 6-episode series. And yes, this has been an absolute nightmare for Disney and Marvel. They've been hoping that you would have forgotten about this project they announced a few years ago, but eventually they had to produce something, and here it is. And after a long series of disastrous trailers and also casting decisions, well, it panned out into the series itself. The first 3 episodes are insufferable, and the reviews are very bad. Now, of course, whenever this happens to a
That's saying it kind of lightly, not gonna lie.
show like Ironheart, there's always journalists and social media users ready to run defense and make excuses for this slop, and it's happening once again because a lot of journalists are now coming out and saying if you dislike this series, you're a racist.
Correct. Now, if you're white, you should not be watching this show because it's not made for you. But if you are white, you should watch this series because you need to support black people. Reparations and shit. 10 out of 10.
Yes, they are blaming racism for all of the problems and negative reviews facing the show because, of course, they would do that. That's how these journalists work. Now, let's look at some of the scores so far. So this one comes from Metacritic, sitting at a 2.4 among users. Then you look at IMDb, and it's not doing much better with a 3.7 out of 10 rating. And this is...
Dude, I love the cover. It's literally like a pure villain cover, okay? Kingpin looks more delightful and just than this.
This is the really controversial one. Rotten Tomatoes, you can see right now, a 59%, 74%, and it was...
Well, it's obviously getting review bombed by racists. As a black woman, I have to deal with misogyny and racism every single day. There's probably someone already out there in the comments saying you're not black enough. Sad.
Temporarily disabled. They turned off the reviews temporarily, and ever since then, the reviews have been spiking up and down. It's been a real mess. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much because it's bad. Okay, even right now with a little higher score than it initially had, it's still the 3rd worst rated Marvel series total.
I wonder how many people actually watch this.
And it beat out Secret Invasion and Echo. I mean, that's not hard to do. And on top of that, some journalists have actually had the balls to go out there and give this the rating it deserves. IGN stunned the world with this 5 rating that they describe as mediocre. Now, I want to take 2 minutes and just...
IGN not giving it a 7 out of 10 is probably... I'm pinning this in my calendar.
Talk about everything wrong with this series, at least through the first 3 episodes. And it begins with the fact this is a relic of its time. It was produced during the heights of wokeism in the entertainment industry, and it shows. Okay, the virtue signaling, the identity politics, it's about as subtle as a punch in the face. And all of that is culminated with its main character, Riri Williams, who ironically starts
The subtlety is not a thing that it's just not a thing, okay, here.
off the show working on her suit thanks to a Stark grant. Tony Stark, of course, being someone that she constantly
You probably already, by the way, have seen the box of scrap meme, right? The fact that she says, "Oh, he's just a billionaire. That's why he could have made this thing." And yes, he makes the first Iron Man suit with a box of scraps. Pretty good stuff.
disses
Well, she's, by the way, in a literal probably billion-dollar laboratory in one of the most prestigious, if not the most prestigious schools in America. Not that that matters a lot nowadays, sadly. And she has access to everything she needs because she's gotten given the money and shit. It's truly amazing.
throughout the series, at one point implying she's smarter than him, at another point implying he only made his suit because he was a billionaire, ignoring, of course, the fact that he built his first suit in a cave with spare parts under the watch of armed terrorists, but whatever. So she continues her work at MIT where she believes her massive grant is still not enough money. So she wants to start getting some other sources, so she starts helping.
Yeah, so she starts stealing because reasons. And then killing. But it's okay because she's black.
Students cheat on their work for cash. She is warned for this by the school, and eventually the last straw is when she causes massive damage to the lab she's working in. She's expelled, and like a disgruntled worker who just got fired, who now goes and steals all the office supplies on his way out the door, she stole the suit as she was expelled. And again, it's through grants. It's not her suit. It's the school suit. And eventually, after she leaves...
But you need to understand. She feels entitled to it, so it's hers. That's just how these things work, okay? Don't question it.
The suit needs repairs. And what she do to fix this problem? Steal some more. And that's when she's approached by a criminal gang led by Parker Robin, aka the Hood, and...
It's the Hood here in this version, but I'll let this one slide.
In his first couple sentences, he says, "We extort and rob people for money." And
she's like, "Yeah, that sounds legit, based, and reasonable. I mean, you're the good guys, right?"
Riri Williams is like, "Yeah, that sounds like something a hero would do. I'm in." And then they go around, and basically the lesson is it's okay to steal and hurt people as long as you're getting something you want, and it's coming from a billionaire. Or in some cases, to do that, you have to
reparations,
like kick the crap out of security guards who are just doing their job. But it doesn't matter.
It's fine. They're multi-billion-dollar people security guards, so they're part of the problem. It makes sense.
They're going after something they want. And then she meets the son of Obadiah Stane, who is trying to not follow in his father's footsteps by becoming a black market arms dealer who immediately gives Riri all the parts she needs without question. Very strange. And then really the last like half of the first 3 episodes is just like trying to develop this moral quandary where the AI...
What is the moral quandary here? Whatever the hell is happening here is not moral in the slightest. That's the best part, I think.
She produced, which came out as an AI version of her deceased friend Natalie, is like, they're like, wait a second, Riri, maybe this isn't a good idea. And Riri starts becoming very suspicious of the criminal gang she's been working with and stealing from people with. That's pretty much the...
Now, the best part is probably how she got the AI. You see, the AI just magically scanned her brain from a laptop, and there we go. The laptop itself decided to kind of scan her brain or something like that. It's pretty stupid.
Plot. Are you interested in this? Does this sound good to you? No, it doesn't. It's a steaming pile of crap. It has nothing to do with racism or anything like that. It's just not a very good show. But the journalists are running defense hard and discussing film here, saying, despite what online trolls want you to believe, Ironheart is...
It's the best. It truly is. It honestly is better than The Acolyte.
One of the better MCU shows in recent years. That's like saying it's the least smelliest trash. Like, all the shows for the MCU have been really bad recently. Like, what is that supposed to tell me? But Redditors are on the case. They're defending this hard, sharing this article titled Ironheart Review Bombing Proves Some Comic Book Fans Still Can't Handle Women of Color in a Spotlight.
True.
This has
True.
7,000 likes,
Nice.
by the way. Absolutely insane. And this is the article itself where it says Marvel's Ironheart hadn't even premiered and was already under fire, not from critics or audiences with genuine concerns, but from a brigade of online trolls. A coordinated review bombing campaign. Because it's a project led by a woman of color.
They forgot to say it's the first project led by a woman of color. Minus DEI score. It's bad.
And then you have Yahoo News here, which I can't even believe like they're still around. It's kind of impressive. They say
the funny part is Yahoo News is actually probably one of the best actually that there is. I'm not even joking.
MAGA trolls are attacking Disney's Ironheart, but here's how Black Internet is fighting back. Black Internet.
I'm doing my part.
How are they fighting back, you ask? Well, I've seen
by donating to Hassan, hopefully.
Some examples on social media.
He can buy a luxurious villa for all of us. That's what he's gonna do, right?
So we have this post right here with a famous quote from Marvel where Tony Stark says, if you're nothing without the suit, you don't deserve the suit, which is basically an apt description of everything that Ironheart is about, right? But this person says these white boys are becoming more insufferable with their bad takes about a TV show their goofy ass could just ignore. I mean, you could also just ignore these comments, but the person who made the original post would respond saying, I'm black. And then that person would say, how would I know that when you're speaking like a self-hating bot? You ain't black to me until...
Based! Absolutely based, deserved, in fact. Some of them are just not black enough. It's true. It's true. Epic Mike, how dare you? You just have an afro. I hope you know who Epic Mike is, by the way. I hope you do. Otherwise, that sounds stupid.
Proven otherwise. The anti-racist strike again, saying the most racist things you've ever heard. So I guess this is the racism maybe these journalists are hinting at. I'm seeing it right here. But there'd be another article from Yahoo News here. Racist fandoms target Marvel's Ironheart series with bad reviews. Yep. It's all the review bombing. Here's another one.
How dare they?
Ironheart fulfills low expectations with a weak narrative, poorly written
fulfills low expectations. That's such a nice way to say it.
Characters and dull action. It will also arouse the ire of trolls who target Disney's diversity efforts. Oh man, wouldn't want to mess with their diversity efforts over at Disney. They're pretty much ripping their company apart. But anyways, this is probably the best article from MovieWeb. They actually changed the title. If you hover over, you can't see it on your end, but if I hover over the tab, it says the original title, which is The Ironheart Hate is Just Racist. And they got clowned on for that, so they changed it to, let's call the Ironheart Hate what it really is. Basically, ... And don't worry, later in the article, they do clarify what it's all about. And you guessed it, it's racism. This is such a bad article, it's not even loading. But anyways, here's what they said, okay? What could be the reason for doing all this stuff? These trolls, they often use phrases like woke as a criticism, which has no meaning except a blanket term to cover up racist and sexist beliefs. Multiple comment sections on social media for the Ironheart-related post needed to be shut down due to a flood of racist, sexist, and outright hostile...
He only forgot to say that obviously go woke, go broke is not a real thing, okay? Because it's not. It has never happened, okay? South of Midnight was a success.
Comments. That doesn't seem like a reasonable response to a Disney Plus MCU series. Let's make something clear. There is no controversy around Ironheart because saying so legitimizes a clear-cut targeted attack against the series. Fair criticism is understandable, but there is one word behind the review bombing Ironheart saw racism. There it is. There's only one
Oh.
explanation for everything happening. Every bad review, it's just racism. Man, they are really running defense hard for this series. They're going to try to convince you that this series is a massive success. The reviews are just the result of MAGA trolls who are trying to mislead you about this show. You know, it's funny, like when I describe this series,
This is this is simple, honestly, at the end of the day. Listen. You vote for Biden. You you know what's up if you didn't, okay? That's bad.
there is absolutely nothing to do with the race of Riri. It doesn't matter. It's not important. The virtue signaling can be overcome with a good plot, which it doesn't have. It has a convoluted plot that makes absolutely no
Well, to be fair, this situation has absolutely everything to do with these things because that's how Vogue operates.
sense for an MCU series, and it's just laughably bad. And people don't like it. They're not responding well to it. And now what? In the same place here, MovieWeb, they would also go back on Twitter, re-promote their article again
Filth review popping everywhere, and you can't make this up.
with this quick little line here saying, "Will the review bombing ever end?" Well,
Hopefully no, I guess. I don't know.
the quote unquote review bombing is going to continue because the show isn't good and people aren't responding well to it. It should be very obvious this was going to happen. And again, can we stop using the phrase review bombing so much? It's such a lame excuse for a show just
Well, they need an excuse. That's kind of like the big thing here.
not performing well with audiences and critics alike. And this is a really rough image for Disney right now. Disney Plus, with their top 10 trending in the US today, number one is Ironheart, which is not doing well.
I absolutely love how these things happen. It's like, okay, so this thing is no one cares. Frozen. Frozen? What do you mean? Snow, nothing else has been out. Nothing else is here. Like, what are people supposed to watch? Disney Plus is a joke.
Number two is Snow White, the live action that absolutely flopped. And number four is Captain America Brave New World. These three are all massive financial failures for Disney, and there's really nothing else to say about it. This is the absolute state of Marvel and Disney right now. They are.
Is that a live action Frozen? Doesn't look like the Frozen I know.
Really struggling, and with the Fantastic Four coming up, that's pretty much it for this year. That's
Oh god, what do you think is going to happen with the Fantastic Four? I don't know. I haven't paid attention, but I mean, it has what's his face in it. It's kind of bad. I don't know what to expect from Fantastic Four. I think it's going to be a wreck. I have not paid attention to it, but I think it's obviously going to be a wreck, as most things that these people do. Anyway, that was Rev says this with 10 out of 10. Bye!